a billionaire. I'm like, that's net worth. I have negative money right now. I'm borrowing money. That's how little money I have. Technically, everyone watching this video has more money than me in their bank account if you subtract the equity value of my company, which doesn't buy me McDonald's.
Imagine spending $100 million on a single project, and somehow people online end up talking more about missing medication, no showers, and people sleeping on a stadium floor than the actual show itself.
I was tackled and kicked in the head as a contestant on Beast Games.
Jimmy Donaldson, someonlessly exploited, contestants, quote unquote, unreasonable and unsafe conditions. Again, all of these allegations, more of the specifics that we're getting here, penning contestants into enclosed spaces, underfed, overtired contestants, stressful, exhausting challenges for cash. By the way, the prize money were forced not to eat, not to sleep, causing physical and mental injury.
That was never supposed to happen, because Beast Games wasn't promoted as another YouTube challenge. It was supposed to be the moment YouTubers officially proved they could compete with Hollywood. For a while, people actually believed it. Why wouldn't they? This was MrBeast, the biggest creator on the internet, someone who built an empire by constantly making bigger and bigger videos every single year. But then, people started asking a very simple question. How does someone worth billions end up saying he has almost no money? Because MrBeast publicly admitted something that immediately confused viewers. He said he was actually borrowing money. He even joked that most people watching technically had more money sitting in their bank accounts than he did. Now, obviously, he wasn't saying he was broke. Most of his wealth is tied up inside his businesses, but that statement suddenly became much more interesting later, because while saying that, he was simultaneously building the biggest game show internet history had ever seen, and that's where everything started. In 2024, MrBeast announced Beast Games, and this wasn't some regular YouTube video. This was a real-world Squid Game style production. Over 2,000 contestants, a $5 million grand prize, entire NFL stadiums transformed into a giant mini-city, and according to multiple reports, $100 million budget. That number alone was enough to make headlines, because that's movie-level money. Actually, it's more expensive than many Hollywood films. Then Amazon joined the project. MrBeast publicly said he had creative control, and he framed the entire thing as a chance to prove creators could stand shoulder to shoulder with traditional television. That was a huge promise, because once you say something like that, people stop judging you like a YouTuber. They start judging you like Hollywood. Applications opened. Thousands of contestants flew to Las Vegas. Entire stadiums were rented out. Production companies were hired. Everything looked incredibly professional. From the outside, it looked perfect, but according to multiple reports and contestant accounts, the version people walked into may have looked very different. Then the first stories started surfacing online, and suddenly, the conversation changed completely. People weren't talking about giant sets anymore. They weren't talking about the prize money anymore. They weren't talking about the games anymore. They were talking about basic necessities: food, water, sleep, and medication. Several contestants publicly claimed they struggled to get access to food during long filming days. Others described people becoming exhausted. Some even spoke about witnessing contestants collapse from dehydration. Now, MrBeast's team disputed many of those claims, and that's important to remember, because one viral post never tells the entire story. But by then, the damage had already started. Because once people begin questioning basic conditions, everything else becomes harder to defend. Then came what many viewers treated as the biggest issue of all: medication. Multiple contestants publicly claimed they were asked to surrender prescription medications for processing, and according to several accounts, those medications allegedly weren't always returned when needed. People online immediately focused on one question: how does something like that happen on a production this expensive? Because these weren't minor items. People online mentioned insulin, heart medication, seizure medication, things people cannot simply skip for a day. Then one contestant publicly alleged they suffered a seizure after not receiving medication back in time. Again, these are allegations, not proven facts, but internet audiences rarely wait for investigations. They react instantly, and that's exactly what happened.
Epilepsy medication, and she did not get it. She had a hard time fighting for it.
And that's not all.
We had finally gotten access to food after about 10 hours, and I witnessed a male just collapse right in front of me, and he was convulsing.
NBC News spoke to 5 other former contestants who asked to remain anonymous because they feared retaliation. They said there wasn't enough food and that they witnessed medics responding to a contestant who appeared to pass out. In August, the New York Times reported that more than a dozen unnamed participants told them that they had not received adequate food or medical care, and that some competitors had suffered injuries from the physical challenges, with some even leaving the competition arena on.
Suddenly, nobody was talking about the greatest game show ever made. Instead, people People were asking if the project had become too big too fast, because when you're managing 2,000 contestants, even small mistakes can snowball incredibly quickly. Then another issue started gaining attention: food. Contestants publicly described receiving relatively small portions throughout extremely long filming days. Some online users even estimated the calorie count based on descriptions people shared. Those estimates weren't official, but critics argued they sounded extremely low considering the amount of physical activity contestants were doing, because these people weren't sitting in chairs, they were sprinting, climbing, competing, standing for hours, running challenges, and if those accounts were even partially accurate, many people argued that simply wasn't enough. Then came water concerns. Production representatives said water and electrolytes were available, but multiple contestants publicly claimed they struggled to access them, and this is where perception started becoming a massive problem, because once audiences believe they've found a pattern, every new story becomes harder to dismiss. At first, this was supposed to be a celebration, a moment proving YouTubers could surpass Hollywood, but within weeks, people online were asking a completely different question: did the ambition grow faster than the systems supporting it? And unfortunately, things were about to get worse, because once people moved past food and medication, they started looking at where thousands of contestants were actually living, and that's where the phrase "sleeping on a stadium floor" started spreading everywhere. Contestants publicly described spending multiple nights inside a stadium, sleeping on concrete floors, using inexpensive sleeping bags, and according to several accounts, there weren't even showers available. Instead, some said they were given deodorant wipes, and honestly, that image alone became a public relations nightmare, because internet audiences immediately compared it to the budget, $100 million, and people were talking about concrete floors and deodorant wipes instead. Then another issue surfaced: luggage. Contestants publicly described being sent into rooms filled with thousands of unsorted bags. No clear organization, no system, just people searching through giant piles trying to find their belongings, and according to some accounts, even medication. Now, on a normal production, that would already look bad, but Beast Games wasn't marketed as a normal production, it was marketed as the future of entertainment, and that's why every small issue suddenly felt enormous. Then the controversy grew beyond contestants. It started involving workers too. Reports began circulating online about extremely long work weeks. Others raised concerns about working conditions during extreme heat. There were even claims involving safety equipment. Again, these were allegations, not established facts, but once stories like these start piling up, public perception changes incredibly fast. Then Rosanna Pansino entered the conversation. She publicly said multiple independent sources had reached out to her, and she claimed she received a large number of messages from contestants and crew members supporting earlier reports. Once that happened, the story exploded. Then came the lawsuits, and honestly, that might have been the biggest turning point of the entire story, because according to reports, some lawsuits began before the show had even aired. Contestants alleged unsafe conditions and wage-related issues.
Studios announced the show and its $5 million cash prize. Now 5 people are taking the company that produces MrBeast's show and Amazon to court in California. They cite poor working conditions. Reps for MrBeast, Amazon, another production company, another one listed in the suit, all declined to comment. NBC's Yasmin Vasugian is all over this for us. Walk us through some of the specific allegations here, Yasmin.
So we were looking through the filing here, Tom. By the way, MrBeast, a huge YouTube star. My kids even watching him, for instance. You mentioned it, 316 million followers here, also known as Jimmy Donaldson. Some of the specifics of the allegations that are made here, and I want to be clear, these are in fact allegations, were in fact redacted in the filing. But let me read for you some of what they said here. As you mentioned, shamelessly exploited, contestants, quote unquote, unreasonable and unsafe conditions. Again, all of these allegations, more of the specifics that we're getting here, penning contestants into enclosed spaces, underfed, overtired contestants, stressful, exhausting challenges for cash. By the way, the prize money for this reality show is in fact $5 million. The reality show that being filmed is Beast Games, by the way, still currently being filmed. And so that is what they're talking about. Really, all of these contestants here kind of vying for this $5 million potential, and actual injuries going on to say they did not provide a healthful place to work, jeopardizing safety for workers as well. They were forced not to eat, not to sleep, causing physical and mental injury. Again, I cannot say this enough. These are all allegations made in this filing by these 5 contestants who were also unnamed, but nonetheless, certainly a major story when it comes to this gargantuan YouTube star.
Now, to be clear, these are legal allegations, not proven facts, but from a public relations standpoint, that distinction almost didn't matter anymore, because internet audiences rarely wait for final outcomes. They react immediately, and that's exactly what happened. The narrative completely changed. At first, people were asking, can YouTubers beat Hollywood? Eventually, people started asking, maybe Hollywood has these systems for a reason. And honestly, that's one of the biggest ironies surrounding Beast Games, because MrBeast wanted to prove creators could operate at Hollywood scale. Instead, backlash reminded audiences why Hollywood has so many rules in the first place. Labor regulations, safety standards, union protections, things viewers rarely think about, until they suddenly appear to be missing. Then eventually, the reviews arrived, and they weren't kind. IGN gave Beast Games a 2 out of 10. Some critics described it as a hollow spectacle. Others called it dystopian. Some argued it felt like human suffering packaged as entertainment. MrBeast publicly responded, saying it was unfortunate that thousands of people's hard work could receive such a low score. But by then, the narrative had already shifted, because once audiences believe they've discovered a pattern, every new story reinforces it. But even after all of that, there was one story that stayed with people more than anything else. Not the giant sets, not the $100 million budget, not even the lawsuit. Because audiences can forgive mistakes, they can forgive delays, but injuries? That's different. Because once people believe someone got hurt, entertainment instantly becomes secondary. Responsibility becomes the main conversation. A woman publicly shared that she suffered a traumatic brain injury. Another contestant described blacking out after being hit during a challenge.
Referred me to nurses or to the ambulance or anything else. I didn't know I was kicked because apparently I blacked out momentarily, and said, I think I have a 1-year recovery. And so, sorry.
It's not who you are.
So devastating. So devastating. Okay. I will not get emotional. I was tackled and kicked in the head as a contestant on Beast Games. I entered the game as a super fan mom. I exited with a year-long recovery from a traumatic brain injury, if I should ever recover completely. My injury was completely preventable. I shared the details online this week with the intention that this does not happen again. My hope is that lots of good decisions will flow from very bad circumstances.
And honestly, that might be the image people remember years from now. A contestant crying on camera, because that's the moment Beast Games stopped looking like an entertainment experiment and started looking like a warning. And things got even worse when this whole MrBeast charity situation has spiraled into something way bigger and way messier than anyone expected. What started off as a feel-good campaign has now turned into a full-blown internet debate, with streamers calling each other out.
MrBeast pressuring people into donating.
Bro, I got a text about threatening illegal. Bitch, try it, bro. Please try it.
Fans picking sides, and even legal threats getting thrown around.
Do you care about human life?
Yes. Yep. Jesus.
Do I have a cause for you? How you doing? Are the views doing well?
Yes, sir.
Sponsorship? Yeah, you're getting good brand deal flow?
Yep.
Okay, good. Yeah, we're just, there's this thing called Team Water, where every dollar donated, someone in need gets a year of clean water, an essential need. This could potentially save their life. And yeah, we're just trying to raise some money for a good cause.
Yep. So basically, people's lives are in my hand.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, but, you could help save some of those lives with a donation.
Yeah, of course.
And, and so we knowing the generous, just very kind soul you are, added you to this call and put you on the spot, because we're just really trying to help as many people as possible. And Aiden up above, he just said he would do 100 grand, and so I matched him. And Felix over here, because he's the richest streamer, is probably gonna do like 200 grand or something. We're still working on it.
Because it's not. It's, like I said, I didn't want to make it weird. What do you feel? So it's for a good cause. So I will do. I'll do 100,000. Really?
Really?
Yes.
Whoa!
Really? But, hold on. Whoa! I'm only doing 100,000 if Aiden and X do 100,000.
So here's what went down. A streamer named Jinxie recently talked about the entire Team Water situation on his live stream.
Uncomfortable, weird streams of all time, bro. Basically, this is all this stream was, bro. The epitome of this stream was basically just MrBeast pressuring people into donating to Team Water, which is a great cause. But at the end of the day, let's be honest, chat. If Team Water raises, $100 million, Who gets the credit for it, bro?
And let's just say he didn't hold back. He described the experience as awkward, uncomfortable, and honestly kind of strange. According to him, the whole stream felt less like a genuine charity effort and more like a pressure chamber where people were being pushed publicly to donate money.
Whatever, like $100 million. Who gets the credit for it, bro? Who's gonna make the tweet and say, oh, this is Team Water and we raised this amount of money? Who gets all the credit for this, chat? Mr. Beast. Exactly. So basically, we're all donating. He's getting all the credit, but we're all getting pressured into donating in front of, hundreds of thousands of people. When you combine all the streams, you're talking 200,000 people are watching this live. And at the end of the day, I kind of thought about it, and it's like, well, at the end of the day, it goes to a good cause, so I don't really care. Like, it goes to a good cause. But that's all this stream is, bro. This is one of the, this stream was just excruciating, bro. Okay.
The man.
And every time somebody would join the call, bro, it was just like...
And that's where things start getting interesting. Rewind a bit. Back in August 2025, MrBeast launched this massive charity initiative called Team Water. The goal sounded incredible on paper: raise money to provide clean drinking water to people in Africa by building wells. It's the kind of mission that's almost impossible to criticize at face value. Clean water is a real issue, and helping solve it is undeniably a good thing. But the controversy didn't come from the idea. It came from how the money was being raised. During one of the live streams promoting Team Water, MrBeast and a group of big-name streamers started calling other creators live on stream. And not just casual calls, they were putting people on the spot in front of massive audiences, asking them to donate right then and there.
What is this?
Yeah, there's this charity thing called Team Water, where every dollar donated is a year of clean water for someone in need. And, we're trying to raise money to get people clean water all around the world. It's, a big thing. People die from it. And we were just curious. Your friends here were saying you were a very generous soul.
Are you really gonna do this shit? Fuck the McDonald's drive-thru, man. Is this gonna happen to me?
You're putting people on the spot.
Nah.
Hey, they put me on the spot too, man. And now, bro.
Imagine being randomly pulled into a call with hundreds of thousands of viewers watching and then being asked, "Do you want to donate money to help people who are dying?" That's not exactly a low-pressure situation. One of the people pulled into this was Asmongold. You could immediately tell he was caught off guard. Even Logan Paul, who isn't exactly known for being the moral compass of the internet, pointed out how weird the situation was. He literally said it felt like he was being put on the spot. And that's kind of the core issue here. This wasn't just charity. It was charity under a spotlight. Now, one of the biggest names caught in the crossfire was Kai Cenat. He didn't donate during the stream, and the internet absolutely went after him for it. People called him a hypocrite, saying he asked his viewers for subscriptions and money all the time, but wouldn't contribute to a charity. At the time, a lot of people sided against him. But looking back now, the situation feels different, because here's the thing. No one is actually obligated to donate, no matter how good the cause is. And when you're being asked live in front of a massive audience with your reputation on the line, that's not really a free choice anymore. That's pressure. Kai became the example of what happens when you say no. He got dragged for weeks, and that alone probably made other creators think twice before refusing. Jinxie basically highlighted this exact problem in his stream. He said the entire vibe felt off. Every time someone joined the call, it turned into another moment where they had to either donate or risk looking bad in front of thousands, sometimes hundreds of thousands of viewers.
How's it going, sir?
I'm good. How are you guys? What's this all about?
Never mind. We're raising money for charity, and they were telling me, everyone in this call, that you're a very philanthropic guy. And there's this thing called Team Water, where every dollar we raise gives 1 year of clean water for someone in need. And everyone in this call donated $100,000 towards it, and they were like, "Yo, Togi would probably love to also donate $100,000 to charity and help save people in need."
You guys all have $100,000. Who do you think I am? I don't have money like that. I'll give.
Actually, I misspoke. X and Aiden actually donated $400,000.
Oh, now I look like a bitch. I can do 25,000.
Hey,
add it to the tally.
Hey, that's 25,000 years of clean water.
Yeah, I'm grinding for this call, bro.
Hell yeah, dude. I feel bad I don't have more. If I win gambling tonight, I'll pitch more.
Okay. How much are you gambling tonight?
I'm buying in 150K.
Wait, what?
And then he brought up another point that hit even harder: credit. If millions of dollars are raised, who actually gets remembered for it? Sure, individual donors might get a clip or a shout out in the moment, but long term, the project is branded under MrBeast. His name is attached to it. His platform amplifies it. So naturally, most of the recognition circles back to him. That doesn't necessarily make it wrong, but it does raise questions about how much of this is about helping people versus building a public image. Jinxie even admitted that at the end of the day, the cause is still good. People are getting access to clean water, which matters way more than internet drama. He couldn't ignore how uncomfortable the process felt, and he's not the only one who felt that way. Another major figure involved, XQC, also spoke about the situation. He said that while he agreed with the goal, the methods used during the stream felt excessive. According to him, there were multiple moments where it seemed like people in the call were trying to signal that things were getting awkward. Those signals were ignored. He described it as a failure to read the room, which is actually a pretty accurate way to put it.
It was too much, and I think the reading the room was just not happening. And I also feel like, and I think MrBeast knows this already, like the reading the room of that room with me and Aiden was not good either. Like me and Aiden kept pausing and looking at each other and looking at him as in like, yo, can we do like a read the room check? And it's like he would just not connect. You can go back into the VOD at least 10 times. We pause, I look at Aiden, I look at him, and there's a pause, and he doesn't read the room. And I think it's just maybe a YouTube personality or anything. Like, and then when he said, "Oh, dude, let's extend the stream," and then I pause. I'm like, "Yeah, we could do that." And I look at Aiden, and then he's like, "So basically we're in." And I'm like, "Well, I need to kind of look at some stuff to see if we can do it." Oh, so we're gonna get in there and do that then. So we're good. And I'm like, "Yeah, well." Bro, you know what I mean? Like, bro, it's like read the room checks, and
Now let's talk about MrBeast's response. After clips of Jinxie's stream started circulating, MrBeast replied on Twitter. He basically defended the approach, saying that since the stream had massive viewership and generated tons of clips, the people who donated did receive attention and credit. He also made it clear that he doesn't feel bad about asking wealthy individuals to contribute to a cause that helps people survive. From his perspective, the ends justify the means. Not everyone agrees with that. Critics argue that the issue isn't about asking people to donate, it's about how it was done. There's a difference between encouraging generosity and cornering someone into it publicly. And then things escalated further when Arden Ross entered the conversation. Arden reacted to the situation on his own stream and started questioning something else entirely. Where's the proof? He asked a pretty straightforward question. Are there actual videos or documentation showing the wells being built? Because if the project raised tens of millions of dollars, there should be clear evidence of the results.
Are these wells that Jimmy promised to build?
And if there's videos and pictures of the wells being built and that's different. So where are they? This does not count. This is something you see in a fucking textbook at school. What the fuck, dude? No. Where is it? Where is it? It's 41 million years of water. I know I'll probably get texts and calls, but I don't care. This is a shit show. And I got fucked. From my opinion, I did. Don't care my perspective, I did. It was a great stream. I don't take that back. But could have been done better. Also, fuck that. No, hell no. I'm gonna say some shit. I was a condom. I was put on a dick. Fuck. Threw the condom off. That's me. Throw it in the trash. Said I was gonna be in the videos where everyone's streamer setups were built. All this. Never happened. Never fucking happened. Why? Because sometimes I say things and I'm just authentic. Every single streamer has weird ass allegations, but Aiden Ross is the controversial figure. I'm the fucked up guy, right? When I'm open about everything. Me and my friend group, we show you guys everything, but I'm the fucked up guy. Saikuna, that Asian person, just got caught being a serial cheater. I saw that. And all these guys are all. The one thing you'll know about me is I'm fucked up, but I shit when I'm fucked up. These guys don't have backbones, they're pussies. All of them.
He also admitted something important. He apologized to other streamers for pressuring them to donate during the original stream. Looking back, he said it wasn't the right thing to do. That kind of self-awareness added another layer to the discussion.
And I apologize to every streamer that or every single public figure that I pressured. And I'm sorry to them. And Jimmy, I will apologize to you if you show the proof of the water. It's been almost a year, and I've said this. You don't even have to do it to me. Do it for the people that are saying it's fake, where the water. Please. I've spoken to many people. That's it. That's it. You could shut everybody the fuck up by doing that. I'm sorry to the people that got pressured. I'm sorry about that. Everybody. I was in the wrong. Looking back, I was in the wrong, and I'm taking accountability fully. I'm not folding. No. I'm apologizing to people that I pressured from my network to donate, because that's not right. That's the truth. I feel bad doing that. That's what I'm apologizing for.
But then came the most dramatic twist. Aiden claimed that MrBeast was threatening legal action against him for defamation. According to him, he received messages warning about potential lawsuits.
Oh, my bad. You talking about the MrBeast shit, Prismel? Bro, I got a text about threatening legal. Bitch, try it, bro. Please try it. I swear, bro, I'm begging. Because the motherfuckers that threaten to push legal today, I will win. And you got money, so it's great. Like, please try it, bro. Allegedly, in my opinion, I say it. Rock Nation gave me that fucking key. Try it. I'm not worried or bothered at all.
Now, whether that actually goes anywhere is a different question, but just the idea of legal threats being involved took this whole situation from internet drama to something much more serious. Meanwhile, XQC offered a more neutral take. He said that technically, streamers always have the option to refuse or say they'll donate privately.
Right? I agree with what he says, right? But the way out of it is like a really simple solution. Like if you get called up, I think you could just say, like a lot of people did, yo, I just donate privately and shit like that. Oh, that's a cool cause. Good job, guys. I really like the stream. I keep it up. And I usually keep my donations private so that it's just the way it operates. And then people and nobody really blinked an eye about people who said that.
XQC would then go on to reveal that he himself feels that the methods MrBeast used to get people to donate was weird, and he disliked how MrBeast kept extending the time of the stream they did for the Team Water charity.
I said it while it was live, and I said it afterwards. I said, I'll be honest with you, I thought that the methods were a little bit too much. And not just a little bit, it was way too much. I said it at the time when it was still live that I was uncomfortable with it. After, and I said it multiple times, that I think that the method was just not okay. Like, just the fact that recalling and re-bringing up somebody and then going back onto the same people.
And while that's true, it ignores the social pressure that comes with being a public figure. When you've seen someone else get torn apart for saying no, it's not that simple anymore. And that's really what this entire situation boils down to. It's not just about charity, it's about influence. So now it's on you. Do you think putting people on the spot for donations is justified if the cause is important enough? Or do you think everyone should have the freedom to choose without public pressure? Because clearly this isn't just about one charity anymore. It's about how influence works in the age of live streams and what happens when doing good starts to look a little too performative.
Doesn't that seem pretty illogical? Isn't that the whole point behind YouTube, to get views? But stop the BS. We all know everyone who does YouTube does it for views. You want views. Views is the fun part. Getting comments, people enjoying your work is the fun part. And so when people are like, oh, you only made this video for views or money, that's the point of YouTube, views.
These companies are facing a legal challenge of their own.
MrBeast's nice off camera. I assume you guys just always wondered, so thought I would ask. P Green, I'll be real with you. I ain't answering that.
Actually, I really wasn't. I just wanted help. Comes in the room and he goes, you absolute fucking get back in that fucking room, or I swear to God, Turner. Jesus Christ, how many fucking times do I have to tell you how to edit this video? What are you,
Back in 2023, Jacksepticeye made a comment about MrBeast that most people dismissed immediately.
Unrelated question. Do you like MrBeast? No. Jack. Oh!
At the time, it sounded like one creator taking a shot at another. Today, a lot of viewers see it very differently, because after years of debates, controversies, and criticism surrounding MrBeast, many people have gone back to that original clip and started asking the same question. Was Jack actually warning everyone? To understand why that conversation has resurfaced, you have to go back to September 2023. The moment happened during a lie detector video hosted by Tommy Innit. What started as a light-hearted challenge quickly turned into one of the most talked about YouTube moments of the year. During the test, Jack was asked a simple question.
Do you think MrBeast ruined YouTube? Yes. Now, in all honesty, Jack, why? Because it became more about views, money, and popularity than it did about having fun. You just don't think you had fun playing Squid Games? You don't think you had fun riding on yachts? Building wells in Africa? I don't know. If he had fun doing those videos, they'd be longer. We'd see the fun. Ooh. Thought you were going to get me with that one, didn't you? Who's the YouTuber you hate the most? I don't know. There's a lot of groomers and pedophiles on our platform. Look, I'm gonna have to sit down because I'm out of questions. Oh, I don't have any more questions.
Have we just grilled him completely?
Like, how do you not break this?
Must be a psychopath to pass all the questions. Only a psychopath can pass all the questions like he is.
Uh-oh. Why are you looking at me? If I'm doing YouTube for 11 years, I'm definitely a psychopath.
Just like that, the room went silent. At the time, Jack was already one of the platform's biggest creators, with tens of millions of subscribers and over a decade of experience on YouTube. But criticizing MrBeast in 2023 was a completely different thing. By that point, MrBeast had become the biggest creator on the platform. His videos were dominating the algorithm, his subscriber count was exploding, and his influence stretched far beyond YouTube itself. So when Jack made that comment, it felt less like criticism and more like someone challenging the most powerful creator on the internet. Naturally, people wanted an explanation, and when Jack expanded on his point, the reaction wasn't exactly supportive. He argued that YouTube had become increasingly focused on numbers, views, money, and scale. In his opinion, the platform felt less driven by creativity and more driven by performance. For a long time, fans believed the MrBeast crew was exactly what it looked like online, a group of friends making ridiculous videos together, traveling the world, giving away money, having fun. That was the image. But over the last few years, several familiar faces from older MrBeast videos have started sharing their own experiences. And while some had nothing negative to say, others painted a much different picture. One of the most well-known examples involved Jake the Viking.
The channel, you saw the title, you know what it's about. Here we go. We're just going to dive straight into it. So as you may have noticed, you probably, if you're a MrBeast fan, you probably have noticed I have not been in the videos as of late. My piece no longer fit the puzzle, if that's the best way to put it. I had shown up, you know, I had done everything I was asked to do. I did it to the best of my ability. I helped the channel grow. When I joined, it was at 4 million. And when I left, I think we had just passed 30 million. But it was a mutual leaving. I had already I'd already told him multiple times, you know, what I wanted to do was kind of be my own boss, do my own thing. You know, I like streaming. I like being able to get in front of the camera and entertain people through playing video games or whatever it is. I wanted to be able to make my own videos. You know, I wanted the opportunity to travel and to go places. You know, me and MrBeast, me and Jimmy did not have any type of falling out. There was no argument. There was no bashing. There was none of that. It was very mutual because it was something I was already contemplating, you know, not if, but when this was going to happen. And it kind of...
For longtime viewers, Jake wasn't some random employee. He was one of the most recognizable members of the entire crew. He appeared in countless videos. Fans loved him, and for a while it seemed like everything was completely fine. When Jake eventually left the channel, he publicly insisted there was no major fallout, no dramatic argument, no public feud, no bad blood. In fact, he repeatedly thanked MrBeast for the opportunities he had been given. He talked about wanting to pursue his own projects, build his own brand, create content on his own terms, and at the time, most viewers accepted that explanation without much questioning. Honestly, it sounded reasonable. People leave jobs all the time, especially when they want to start something of their own. So for a while, the story ended there, at least publicly. But over time, people started noticing something interesting. The way Jake talked about his experience slowly began to change.
Like, hey, why am I not busy, or why am I not this? They'd be like, oh, we're doing a new strategy, or we're doing this, doing that. No one would ever give me like a straightforward answer, but I was still getting paid.
They was paying you, but you wasn't working.
I was sitting home streaming. And then finally April, they hired an HR lady. So I told her a bunch of the issues that I had with the company, some of the wrongs that have been done. I get a call from her. She goes, hey, we're ready for your follow-up. I was like, is it good or bad? She goes, it's a follow-up. And they straight up hit me with it's one of those, your piece doesn't fit the puzzle, and it's brand protection because you did a brand deal with a CBD company.
Not all at once, not through some explosive expose video, just small comments, little remarks during streams, occasional responses to viewer questions. Nothing major on its own, but enough to make people start paying attention. And once viewers started comparing comparing those newer comments to the things he originally said when he left, the difference became harder to ignore.
Like, no one can give me straight answers. I had even texted Jimmy at one point. He goes, yeah, let's talk, this like Thursday or whatever. Never heard back from him. I was like, all right, well, since I keep getting asked for 4 months, why aren't you in videos? Why aren't you in videos? So I was messaging Daryl, because Daryl, again, was the only person that would actually have a conversation with me. I messaged Daryl and I was like, well, is it cool if I make a video kind of like explaining what all happened so I can just tell people to go to that? He goes, yeah, you'll just have to send it to me for approval. I was like, all right, cool. So the video that you see on Why I Love Mr. Beast had to get approved by Daryl. And so I posted that with no idea it was going to blow up the way it did. For a little while, if you just typed in Mr. Beast in the YouTube search bar, my video was the first thing to show up. And then all of a sudden, it disappeared. The views disappeared on my channel as well after that. But that's fine. 1.7 million subscribers with no idea it was going to blow up the way it did. For a little while, if you just typed in Mr. Beast in the YouTube search bar, my video was the first thing to show up. And then all of a sudden, it disappeared. The views disappeared on my channel as well after that, but that's fine. 1.7 million subscribers with really good thumbnails and titles, and my video can't even...
That's when the speculation really began, because the internet loves patterns, and people thought they were seeing one. A former employee leaves, says everything is fine, then years later begins hinting that maybe things weren't quite as perfect as they appeared. Whether those interpretations were fair or not, the conversation quickly spread online, and Jake wasn't the only former team member people started talking about. And then the situation got even more complicated, because while Jake's departure became one of the most discussed examples, it wasn't the only story people were paying attention to. But according to some former workers, the issues went beyond normal growing pains, and that's where the controversy really started gaining momentum, because the more people dug into old interviews, live streams, and social media posts, the more examples they thought they were finding. Suddenly, viewers weren't just discussing one former employee, they were comparing multiple stories at the same time. And while each experience was different, critics kept pointing out what they believed was a recurring theme: pressure, a lot of pressure. One of the biggest moments came when older comments from Turner began circulating online again.
Every month when I lived in North Carolina, and he said, all right, you can live here as long as you want. You can literally stay in this like pretty expensive apartment just until you feel comfortable leaving. Don't feel like you're in a rush. Stay as long as you want. Stay for months if you want to. It doesn't matter to us. They're still paying me right now. I'm still technically working. I'm not going to give like any numbers or anything. They said we're still going to pay you for a while, and that is basically funding my trip to backpack across Asia. He's saying you don't have to work for me, but I'll still pay you, and because of that, I hope that lets you live in LA, go to college, backpack Asia. Whatever you want to do after this, I want to set you up for that. And the job is still an amazing job. If you have the opportunity to get this job that I had, totally take it. It's a lot of fun. It was basically just like a friendship, and going to work was a blast.
According to him, there were times when editing projects became incredibly frustrating because expectations kept changing throughout production. He described situations where videos would go through revision after revision, with entire sections being reworked repeatedly, and eventually those stories evolved into some of the most widely discussed allegations surrounding the channel's workplace environment.
Praise Mr. Beast, whether that be just people around me, people online, everyone's like, this is the best guy on the planet. And while he is definitely a good guy, I'm not going to take anything away from his charitable efforts that he's done. It does get annoying when the person that everyone knows as a saint, you know as someone who's the complete opposite. Now, I want you guys to keep in mind, just like actors, Mr. Beast and Jimmy Donaldson are two different people. This is basically just a compilation of all the videos Mr. Beast made thus far on his channel of him giving away money, adding up to him hitting $500,000. It's like, I want you to get every time I've ever given away money, add it up in the corner, and it should equal $500,000. I was like, this isn't gonna work because you clickbait. He'd be like, no, I swear, I did the math. I was like, all right, man, for sure. 8 hours passes by, I finish editing the video, and instead of the $500,000 he wants it to hit, it's maybe $410,000, and I'm like, Jimmy, clickbait is a thing you need to take into consideration. It came to a point where he's like, you know what, just start over, man. Deletes the project file, is like, start from scratch. Even if you delete the project file and make me restart and make me recut up all these clips, I can't make this equal $500,000. I am going insane. I don't know how.
At first, many viewers dismissed the claims entirely. After all, editing for one of the largest YouTube channels in the world isn't exactly a normal job. The expectations are naturally going to be higher, the standards are naturally going to be stricter, and when millions of people are watching every upload, the stakes become much harder to tolerate. That's the argument many fans made, and honestly, there's some truth to it. Producing videos at that level requires an enormous amount of work. Most viewers only see the finished product. They don't see the hundreds of decisions being made behind the scenes. They don't see the edits, dates, the meetings, the revisions, the deadlines, or the pressure that comes with trying to satisfy an audience of hundreds of millions. But critics weren't focused on the workload itself. They were focused on how some former employees described being treated during that process. That's where things became much more serious.
Like 5 when he comes in and does basically the same thing and just scraps my whole video and asks me to do it again. I'm like, dude, let me take a walk, man. I specifically walked to a good friend who worked there at the Times office about 30 seconds away. And I'm like, dude, I don't know what to do right now. I can't edit this video for like another day. He wants me to come in on the weekend and do the same thing. I'm literally gonna go crazy. And that's when Jimmy hears me talking about how aggravated I'm getting with the situation and apparently like talking shit behind his back, which I really wasn't. I just wanted like help. Comes in the room and he goes, you absolute fucking get back in that fucking room, or I swear to God, Turner. Jesus Christ, how many fucking times do I have to tell you how to edit this video? What do you...
11 post MrBeast. Because once discussions move from the work was difficult to the environment was unhealthy, the conversation changes completely. And according to Turner, there were moments that left a lasting impression on him long after he stopped working with the channel. Some of his comments painted a picture of an environment where workers constantly felt they needed to prove themselves, an environment where mistakes felt magnified, and where people sometimes worried they could be replaced at any moment. Whether those claims accurately reflected reality is something only the people directly involved truly know. But online, nuance rarely survives. The internet immediately picked a side. Supporters of MrBeast argued that running one of the biggest media operations on YouTube naturally comes with enormous expectations. Critics argued that success shouldn't excuse poor treatment if any of the allegations were true, and once those debates started, they spread everywhere. Reaction channels covered them. Podcast hosts discussed them. Clips went viral across social media. What had originally been isolated comments from former employees suddenly became part of a much larger narrative. Then, another story surfaced that grabbed even more attention. A former participant began describing experiences from one of MrBeast's challenge videos, and some of the details immediately stood out to viewers. The participant claimed certain conditions during the challenge were far more difficult than audiences realized while watching the final upload. According to those accounts, aspects of the challenge became physically and mentally exhausting.
But it didn't come out. It didn't come out because it didn't go well. It was the surviving like $10,000 every day you survive in solitary, or surviving solitary for whatever. It got a lot of media attention because everybody saw the premise and thought, what? You shouldn't do that. People don't know that was the second attempt. The first attempt was on me, and it didn't go well. They weren't turning the lights off. You know, I asked them, I said, can we like have like nighttime hours? And they said no, because it would fuck up the time-lapse shots. The time-lapse of what? Me sleeping? Or me not sleeping? Okay, I got no access to sun. I got no access to clock. The lights are on me all the time. I wasn't sleeping. I could not sleep. And I have insomnia problems now. They might have started there. I had a lot of good people looking out for me saying, this we gotta stop. I just wanted to turn the lights off. And I'm vocalizing to people, I wish the lights would turn off. And I go up to my friend, my good friend, and I go, they're not turning the lights off. He goes, what? That's a war crime. We're not allowed to do that to terrorists. Oh, good. 24 hours breaking the Geneva Convention, I guess, is what we're doing. And he goes, ask me why I have 2 briefcases. And I'm like, why do you have 2 briefcases? And he goes, oh, because this one's for today, you know, and this one's for the challenge. And I go, what's the challenge today? He goes, you're gonna run a marathon. You're gonna do the 22.6K, whatever it is, and you're gonna do it on that treadmill over there. People who run marathons train forever, and it's still hard. Ryder, do I look like I run? I don't run, let alone a marathon.
Did you try to say no? Like, did you have a choice, or?
There was so much pressure to just do it, just do the thing, you know? You get up, I wanted the cash, and so I started running at 12. I was able to take some breaks, and I asked him, how long do I have? He goes, until I get back. And I'm running until 3 a.m. All right, I got off the treadmill. Oh, the blisters I had on my feet were like, you wouldn't believe, all over, just these big red. I couldn't walk. My muscles were like just the lactic acid. I got off the treadmill, and then the people that came in to like ice my feet, you know, make sure I was good. Then that's when I was like, I'm done. I'm done.
The allegations quickly spread online, and once again, people found themselves arguing over the same question. Were these simply the realities of participating in extreme challenge content, or were they examples of something more concerning? That's been the central issue surrounding almost every MrBeast controversy recently. Not necessarily what happened, but how people interpret what happened, because supporters and critics often look at the exact same story and reach completely different conclusions conclusions. One side sees ambitious content creation, the other sees unnecessary risk. One side sees demanding standards, the other sees unreasonable expectations. And as more former employees and participants shared their experiences, those disagreements only became more intense. That's why every new claim generated headlines, not because people already knew the truth, but because everyone was trying to figure out which version of the story made the most sense. Then the situation escalated again, because now it wasn't just former employees making allegations. There were legal claims entering the picture as well, and once lawsuits become involved, public conversations tend to change very quickly.
Rain Mavromatis filing a federal lawsuit in North Carolina, claiming she faced discrimination, retaliation, was required to work while on maternity leave, and was terminated within a few weeks of returning to the job, told she was too high caliber for the position. NBC News spoke with Mavromatis today in a broadcast exclusive.
I do not want to be silenced anymore. I really want to use my voice.
In the complaint, she alleges that she rose quickly inside the company after starting in 2022, but after raising concerns about sexual harassment, was demoted and transferred into what the lawsuit calls a division where, quote, careers go to die. MrBeast spokeswoman responding to NBC News, saying Mavromatis' position was eliminated as part of a restructuring, adding in a statement, quote, this clout-chasing complaint is built on deliberate misrepresentations and categorically false statements, and we have the receipts to prove it. There is extensive evidence, including Slack and WhatsApp messages, company documents, and witness testimony that unequivocally refutes her claims. We will not submit to opportunistic lawyers.
What was previously internet drama suddenly starts feeling much more serious, especially when allegations involve workplace treatment, discrimination, retaliation, or employee rights. Those kinds of accusations immediately attract attention far beyond YouTube audiences, and that's exactly what happened. News organizations started covering the story, articles began appearing, commentators who normally never discuss YouTube drama suddenly started paying attention. The conversation was no longer confined to creator communities, it had become mainstream, and for MrBeast, that created a completely different challenge.
The lawsuit also alleges Mavromatis was contacted to work while on maternity leave, and that the company never gave her required notice of her rights under the Family and Medical Leave Act.
Jimmy Donaldson himself, he says that you've got to get the job done, and there's no excuses.
Her suit claims she feared retaliation if she refused to work during her leave, and was on a work conference call while in the labor and delivery room, and traveled to Brazil for a shoot with soccer star Neymar a few weeks after giving birth.
But if Neymar wins, I will donate it to whatever charity he chooses.
No mother would want to leave their newborn baby behind to go to work, especially out of the country when you're breastfeeding your baby. That's the last thing that I wanted to do.
Documents obtained by NBC News show Mavromatis' signature on an employee handbook dated 4 days before giving birth, which laid out the company's maternity leave policies, something Mavromatis says she doesn't remember.
So you never signed any sort of FMLA documents 4 days before you gave birth?
No, I do not recall signing, and I was never informed.
Because internet controversies come and go all the time, but legal disputes tend to stay in public discussion much longer, especially when both sides strongly disagree about what actually happened. As expected, MrBeast's team pushed back against many of the allegations. And just when people thought the MrBeast controversies couldn't get any stranger, another headline suddenly appeared that nobody saw coming. Except this time, it wasn't about an employee, it wasn't about a lawsuit, and it wasn't about workplace allegations. It involved a contestant from one of MrBeast's biggest videos. For viewers who don't remember, MrBeast previously hosted a challenge where pilots competed for an actual private jet. The video was massive. Millions of people watched it. And one of the standout winners was a pilot named Jabari Brown. At the time, it looked like one of those classic MrBeast success stories. Contestant enters a challenge, wins something life-changing. The internet celebrates. End of story. Or at least that's what people thought. Because years later, Jabari Brown's name suddenly started appearing in headlines for a completely different reason. Reports began circulating that Brown was allegedly connected to an international investigation involving the seizure of hundreds of pounds of cannabis. The story spread extremely fast, and for obvious reasons. Whenever someone connected to a viral MrBeast video ends up making headlines, people immediately start paying attention, especially when the allegations are this serious. And before long, people were connecting the story back to MrBeast's name, despite there being no public evidence suggesting MrBeast himself was involved in the allegations. That's an important distinction. But what's interesting is that a lot of these questions didn't actually start with the lawsuits. They didn't start with former employees, and they didn't start with the recent headlines. Months before many of these stories exploded, some creators were already raising concerns about MrBeast and the way certain projects were being handled. One of the biggest examples was the Team Water controversy. At the time, most people brushed it off. Now, after everything that's happened, viewers are going back and looking at that situation very differently. And honestly, it might explain why so many people started questioning MrBeast in the first place. So if you haven't seen that story yet, you should probably watch that next on our channel.